Hello everyone, I'm Cloud and welcome to Anime no Mi. Following with the One Piece videos here on the channel, let's talk about some frighteningly powerful characters who don't have a devil fruit power or at least never needed to demonstrate, and which fruits would be ideal for each of them to become yet more powerful to the point of becoming even bigger legends than they have already become. After all, a good part of the video will talk about characters who really became icons when it comes to power in One Piece. I'm counting on your help by subscribing to the channel if you're still new here, and so join our crew. Also leave your like in the video, which is very important. Now we continue with the video. Guys, as we currently know, most of the great powers in One Piece are characters that have devil fruit powers. From the 4 Yonkas, 3 of them have the power of a fruit as their main strength. 1 of them have 2 fruits, but we knows that many names, especially great names from the seas of the past, were strong even without having demonstrated using the powers of Akuma no Mi. So in today's video we'll talk about them, about those who never needed to gain power from a fruit or didn't need to demonstrate having a devil fruit to be extremely powerful, and we'll also talk about what would be the ideal fruit for each one of them based on the powers they already possess. And in this video today, we won't mention the Straw Hat Pirates. After all, Oda himself has already revealed which devil fruit would be the ones he would like for each of Luffy's companions, and we've even talked about them. So in today's video we'll talk about other powerful pirates who don't have an Akuma no Mi and the fruits that best match their powers. Let's start by talking about Monkey D. Garp himself, Luffy's grandfather, who even got angry when he realized that his grandson had eaten a devil fruit. Garp not only believed that the power of a fruit was not necessary to be powerful, he was the proof that this power was not really necessary. By the events in God Valley, Garp became a hero and was invited to be an admiral, which he did not accept. Moreover, he could if he accepted even becoming a fleet admiral, in other words, the highest title of the group. But one of the most important points is the fact that he was the rival of Goldie Roger, the king of pirates, who even cited Garp as someone who was really worth facing after facing a fleet of Sekai Sifu. Luffy's grandfather has always been known for his gigantic physical strength and his punch capable of breaking mountains, and for that strength he still received the title of Garp the Fist, and we can see that even the years that have passed have not made him weak. For Garp and his fighting style, an Akuma no Mi similar to Daz Bone's Supa Supa no Mi would be interesting, a paramecia that allowed him to turn his body to steel. As we saw, Daz Bones used this fruit to transform various parts of his body into blades, but Garp could use it in a different way, or a different model of that fruit, to make his body much stronger and more resistant, and using it in conjunction with Busashoko Haki, your blows would be practically unstoppable. Now talking about the pirates, let's mention one from the time of Garp, a companion of Edward Newgate, and also Goldie Roger, the samurai Odin, who is one of the biggest users of Busashoko Haki in the series. Odin was always someone very strong, even when it comes to physical strength. After all, he was still very young, he able to defeat even bears, and survived in the future a clash with the blades of both Edward Newgate and Goldie Roger as well. Beyond, as I mentioned, having the power to be part of the crew of the two, being former commander of the crew of Newgate. But we know that the focus of his powers were always his haki and his swords. After all, he was always a great swordsman, including having his own style, Odin Nitoryu, and he could have an Akuma no Mi related to Amaterasu or something related in the sun. This is because some of his attacks make reference to Tatsuka no Tsurugi and Kusanagi no Tsurugi, the sword in the story where Oda was inspired, used to defeat Yamata no Orochi, a giant 8-headed snake, exactly that of the Akuma no Mi of Orochi, and also the sword received after the victory, or perhaps a power in his sword, perhaps related to Uo no Mi herself, with a dragon model different from Kaido's, just as Oda wanted it to be with Zoro. And talking about the powers of a swordsman, let's follow with the greatest, talking about Dracul Mihawk, who we know has the title of the greatest swordsman in the world, besides knowing that he considers the red hair as his rival. Mihawk is known for destroying entire fleets with a single move of his sword, Seijo Owazamono Yoro. Besides, he is also the one who defeated Zoro with a small dagger, without any effort, being in the future responsible for the most significant training experienced by the Mugiwara, the one that made him strong enough for grand line battles. Obviously, to become the greatest swordsman in the world, Mihawk has a gigantic control by Busashoko Haki, which he uses on his swords, as well as having a great range in Haki of observation too, not to mention his high speed of vision, where he was able to follow, for example, Luffy's speed using Gear 2. It was this ability that gave him the title title of Falcon Eyes, which already gives us the first choice of Akuma no Mi, a Zoan of a falcon, which would be the most obvious, but we could go for a different model than Toki Toki no Mi, the Fruit of Time, but this time to see a few seconds in the future, but actually seeing a few seconds, something different from the Haki of observation, where it is impossible to change the prediction, because Oda himself already said that instead of calling Mihawk hawk-eyed, he thought of calling him the clairvoyant, and as he is a swordsman, having the ability to predict some of his opponent's moves would give him an advantage that would make him practically invincible, even though he is already in a sword duel nowadays. And let's follow the video with Shanks and Ben Beckman together, because they are extremely mysterious, and we believe they don't have Akuma no Mi. We even saw Shanks swimming, but a while ago, and even if he did, he never needed to demonstrate the power. We saw that without any difficulty Shanks stopped a direct attack from Akainu, who was using his devil fruit, just as Beckman stopped Kizaru from attacking, simply saying that it would end up starting a confrontation between them, and it's really hard to think about an Akuma no Mi for them. After all, they are extremely mysterious. Well, there is that theory that Shanks could have the Griffin's Akuma no Mi, a mythological creature, meaning a mythical Zoan, but in this case it wouldn't even be for him to actually use. It would be something like what Oda wanted for Zoro, a devil fruit for the sword, where the user could control their powers, and in the case of Shanks, we know that Griffin is the name of his sword. In addition, many question the power of a sword to be able to stop Akainu's blow, but with Haki's knowledge this becomes completely possible. Even so, it would be very interesting to present a devil fruit to be used by the pirate that inspires Luffy. Beckman is even more difficult because there is no clue. Many think of his stealth. After all, he came to attack Kizaru without anyone noticing him there, but Shanks also arrived without anyone noticing. Now that we talk about Shanks, we go with his ex-commander of the Pirate King's crew, Rayleigh, who we're pretty sure doesn't have the power of an Akuma no Mi. After all, we saw him swimming to go train Luffy. At the same time, we know that Rayleigh is one of the most powerful people who has ever crossed the seas. We've seen that he is still strong enough to face an admiral today, as well as being one of the fastest characters with great control in King's Haki of the series. In fact, of all types of Haki, perhaps the most obvious Akuma no Mi that could be used by Silvers would be the devil fruit that nowadays belongs to Marshall D. Teach, the Yami Yami no Mi. And if we quote Rayleigh, obviously we also have to quote the King of Pirates. After all, Roger became one of the most powerful pirates of all time, and certainly the greatest pirate of all time, the one who conquered the seas. Roger had a gigantic control over all types of Haki, especially the King's Haki, which is a power he used in an advanced way. In fact, so far the use of the King's Haki seems to be Roger's main strength, at least the one he uses the most. Besides that, Roger was also an extremely skilled swordsman, but when it comes to a devil fruit, many people believe that in the past he had Goma Goma no Mi, the fruit that is now used by Luffy. Even more so, recently we've seen that Shanks was really looking for this fruit, and he faced the Sekai Sifu to get it, and that devil fruit was being protected. However, it is very difficult to imagine which Akuma no Mi would best suit Go D. Roger. After all, we really saw that he didn't really need the power of an Akuma no Mi, at least for his battles. What's amazing about One Piece currently is the possibility that soon the powers will be able to be accumulated, in which case the Zoan devil fruits are already possible to be replicated, initially with the skills and knowledge that enabled the Smile fruits, and now Oda has indicated that new types of devil fruits will soon be possible. He was citing the possibility of Dr. Vegapunk also creating Logias and Paramecias, and this could completely change the definition of powers in the world of One Piece, mainly from Vegapunk's allies and possibly from his new group to Sekai Sifu. Comment below what you think about all this, and also what is the ideal Akuma no Mi for each character that appeared in this video in your opinion. Don't forget to leave your likes in the video to help the channel, and also subscribe if you're still new here. The channel is new and needs your help. Thank you so much for watching our video so far. Your support is very important. See you in the next video. Bye.